We're counting down the 20 most jaw-dropping, 1000% insane moments in golf history, a ranking where chaos, heroism, and utter disbelief collide. From wild animal invasions and rogue fans to controversial rule twists, epic meltdowns, and unthinkable triumphs, these moments are proof that on any given hole, reality can out-crazy the wildest imagination. Which shocker takes the number 1 spot? Let's tee off with number 20. Erik van Rooyen lines up his shot at the Mexico Open when a low hum turns into chaos. A swarm of Apis mellifera, European honeybees, descends out of nowhere. In an instant, players, caddies, even broadcasters hit the deck, faces pressed to the turf, clubs abandoned. No one's worried about birdies. It's pure survival mode. Van Rooyen later said, "You just hear sound like rain, and then everyone's down. I didn't even look, just ran." Play is suspended. The course belongs to the bees. Only after the swarm clears do the pros dust themselves off and get back to golf. Sometimes, nature calls the shots. Zach Johnson steps onto the 13th tee at Augusta, settles in, and takes a casual practice swing, only to clip his ball by accident. The ball dribbles off the tee, and for a split second, it looks like disaster. But here's where golf's rulebook gets wild. Because Johnson didn't mean to hit it, and the ball wasn't yet in play, he simply re-tees and carries on. No penalty. That's Rule 6.2b5 in action. Intent matters, at least on the tee. Johnson later joked, "Guess my practice swing is a bit longer than I thought." One viral replay, and suddenly the line between calamity and comedy is razor thin. Nothing in golf prepares you for a fan casually strolling onto the tee, reaching into Rory McIlroy's bag, and walking off with his driver and head cover, while Rory, Jon Rahm, and Justin Thomas stand frozen in disbelief. This wasn't a prank or a dare. At the 2021 Scottish Open, security watched as a 35-year-old man handled one of the most famous clubs in the game, then wandered off before marshals finally stepped in. The club was returned, the fan was escorted away, and police took him for evaluation. After that, marshals doubled at tee boxes and player zones, got a lot less friendly to outsiders. One surreal minute, and suddenly, every player's gear felt up for grabs. Bryson DeChambeau stands over his ball, but the crowd isn't cheering. They're chanting, "Brooksy!" Over and over, tournament after tournament, fans weaponize Brooks Koepka's nickname just to get under Bryson's skin. It's not just a few rowdies either. The chants explode as their feud heats up online, turning every tee box into a meme battleground. Twitter impressions for golf jump by more than 60% in the weeks when the rivalry peaks. Finally, the PGA Tour draws a line. Anyone yelling "Brooksy" risks getting tossed from the grounds. Suddenly, heckling isn't just a joke, it's policy. Golf, the sport of whispers, now has to referee the internet's loudest voices. Sergio Garcia's breaking point came at the 2019 Saudi International, and the damage was literal. After a rough start left him out of contention, Sergio snapped, taking his putter and shoes to 5 separate greens, gouging and scarring the surfaces in a fit of rage. Tournament officials investigated, found the spike and club marks, and disqualified him for what they called serious misconduct. Players still on the course faced ruined putting lines and confusion. Garcia issued a public apology and later sought counseling, but the incident forced a new conversation. Even at golf's highest level, sportsmanship has its limits, and the rules are ready to step in when anger crosses the line. Patrick Reed lines up in a sandy waste area at the 2019 Hero World Challenge, but the cameras catch something no rules official could miss. Reed makes a couple of practice swings, and each time, his club brushes sand away from behind his ball. On replay, the grains shift, clear as day. Officials review the footage and hit him with a 2-stroke penalty for improving his lie under Rule 8.1a. Reed tries to explain, but the video leaves no room for debate. Suddenly, the whole golf world is arguing. Waste area or bunker, intent or not, the rules don't care. Reed's reputation takes another hit, and the viral clip becomes a crash course in golf's strictest code. Hideki Matsuyama's 3-wood sits on the inspection table at the Memorial Tournament, and officials spot a thin strip of white paint across the club face. That's all it takes. The paint, meant as a simple alignment aid, instantly makes the club non-conforming under Rule 4.1a, No warning, no debate. Hideki is disqualified on the spot, even though he didn't gain any advantage, and claims the mark was left over from a lesson. The ruling is strict. Intent doesn't matter. And even the smallest illegal marking means a major champion is out of the tournament. One tiny detail, one giant headache, and a reminder that in golf, your gear can get you tossed just as fast as your temper. Siwoo Kim stands over a putt on Augusta's 15th green, one shot away from keeping his master's hopes alive. Frustration boils over. He slams his putter into the turf and snaps the shaft clean in two. Suddenly, he's got 4 holes left and no putter. So what does he do? He grabs his 3-wood and starts rolling putts like he's playing mini golf at the world's toughest course. Par on 15, par on 16, par on 17, par on 18. Not a single shot dropped, all with a club meant for 250-yard bombs, not delicate tap-ins. Fans and broadcasters can't believe it. Nick Faldo jokes, "That's the ultimate test of touch." Kim walks off still in contention, living proof that even in a meltdown, you can improvise your way through Augusta's greens and keep the dream alive. Michael Block, a club pro who spends most days teaching lessons, steps onto the 15th tee at Oak Hill, sharing a Sunday pairing with Rory McIlroy at the PGA Championship. He swings, and the ball never touches the green. It dives straight into the cup for a hole-in-one. The crowd loses its mind. Rory hugs him. Block's reaction is pure disbelief, hands on his head, soaking in the moment. He finishes tied for 15th, earning over $288,000 and a sponsor's invite to the next tournament. In a single shot, a teaching pro becomes a viral hero, living every golfer's wildest dream. Jordan Spieth stands in a greenside bunker at the Travelers Championship, playoff hanging in the balance. He's got one shot to beat Daniel Berger. Sand, pressure, a sliver of daylight. Spieth swings, the ball explodes up, lands, and trickles straight into the cup. Game over. Spieth's club goes flying. He sprints and launches into a flying chest bump with his caddy, Michael Greller. Pure, unfiltered joy. The crowd erupts, and suddenly, golf looks less like a gentleman's game and more like a rock concert. Walk-off wins from a bunker in sudden death? Almost unheard of. This wasn't just a win. It was a celebration that turned a clutch moment into instant legend. Jordan Spieth stands on the 13th tee at Royal Birkdale, clinging to a narrow Open Championship lead. His drive rockets so far right, it vanishes into the dunes, forcing him to take an unthinkable drop. Not on grass, but on the driving range, behind equipment trucks, with rules officials, marshals, and TV cameras swarming. 20 minutes tick by. He finally hacks out, somehow scrambles to say bogey, and then flips the script. Birdie at 14, eagle at 15, birdie at 16. In the span of 4 holes, he goes from meltdown to miracle, turning disaster into a claret jug. It's the gutsiest, wildest escape act in major championship history. Proof that champions aren't made by perfect shots, but by refusing to fold when chaos hits. Jon Rahm stands on the 16th tee at Augusta, but this isn't just any shot. It's Masters practice round tradition. Players skip balls across the pond for the fans, but Rahm takes it to the next level. He lines up, sends his ball skimming the water. 1, 2, 3, 4 skips. Then it hops onto the green, curls right, and drops straight into the hole. The crowd erupts. Rahm laughs in disbelief, hands on his head. No trophy, no leaderboard, just pure joy and a viral masterpiece. More than 10 million views in days. It's golf at its most playful. Proof the sport's magic isn't just in the pressure, but in the moments where fun and skill collide. Sometimes, the wildest highlight is the one with nothing at stake. Lee Ann Walker's scorecard at the 2019 Senior L PGA Championship reads like a misprint. 85, 74, but with a staggering 58 penalty strokes tacked on. For 2 rounds, Walker's caddy stood behind her as she took her stance, an alignment move outlawed by Rule 10.2b4 that year. No one in her group caught it at first. Not the caddy, not Walker, not her playing partners. But halfway through the second round, someone mentioned the rule. Walker didn't hesitate. She double-checked the rulebook, then reported every violation to officials, hole by hole. The penalties added up, 2 strokes for each infraction, across 29 holes. Walker told reporters, "I wasn't going to lie. I'd rather my scorecard be ugly than my conscience." Locker room whispers turned to respect. Some players joked, "Next time, ask first." But everyone knew she'd done the right thing, even as her tournament vanished in the sea of red numbers. Golf's honor code demands honesty, even when it costs everything. 58 strokes, the heaviest penalty in pro golf history, handed down by the player herself. 3 towering pines stand sentinel beside Augusta's 17th hole, until a sudden roar of wind turns everything upside down. In seconds, all 3 crash to earth, splintering benches and sending fans scrambling for cover. It's Friday at the 2023 Masters, packed galleries, all eyes on the leaders, when nature decides to test golf's illusion of control. Amazingly, not a single person is hurt. Emergency teams hustle in, marshals clear the area, and play is halted as chainsaws buzz and officials huddle. Augusta's famous green jackets, usually symbols of order and tradition, are now directing crisis response. Behind the scenes, arborists rush to inspect every tree lining the fairways. Later, Augusta confirms a full safety audit had just been completed, but no one saw this coming. The Masters resumes, shaken but intact. By tournament's end, new policies are in place, older trees removed, risk reviews ramped up. For all the talk of perfect conditioning, golf's most sacred ground is still at the mercy of wind, wood, and luck. One shift in the air, and the difference between a near miss and a disaster is pure chance. Mito Pereira stands on the 18th tee at Southern Hills, one shot from a lifelong dream. He needs par to win the 2022 PGA Championship. Nerves tighten. His drive launches right, veering toward disaster, and splashes into the creek. Cameras catch the disbelief on his face. Pereira scrambles, but the hole unravels. He chips out, leaves his approach short, and 2 putts for a double bogey. The lead is gone, the playoff missed by a single shot. He later says, "I just didn't make a good swing." In less than 5 minutes, a major championship slips away. The cruelty of golf, one swing, and everything changes. Phil Mickelson stands over a slippery putt on Shinnecock's 13th green, already battered by the US Open's brutal setup. He sends his ball racing past the hole, then watches in disbelief as it gathers speed, threatening to roll straight off the green. Suddenly, Phil does the unthinkable. He jogs after the moving ball and whacks it back toward the cup while it's still rolling. Shock ripples through the crowd. That's a straight-up violation of Rule 14-5, which bans hitting a moving ball. The officials hit him with a 2-stroke penalty, but let him play on. No disqualification. The golf world erupts. Was it a meltdown, a calculated move, or just pure frustration? Phil faces the music, offering a public apology. "I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed, and I'm sorry to the USGA and everyone watching." The debate rages. Was it gamesmanship or disrespect? One thing's certain. In a sport obsessed with honor, Phil's decision forced everyone to ask where the line really is. Bryson DeChambeau crouches beside his ball at the 2020 WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational, squinting at the ground and waving in a rules official. He claims he spotted fire ants. Yes, ants, near his ball, and wants relief under Rule 16.1 for dangerous animals. The official kneels, inspects the patch of rough, and asks, "Where exactly do you see them?" Bryson points, circles the area, even pokes the turf with his club, but no ants, fire or otherwise, make an appearance. The debate drags on, with Bryson insisting he's at risk, the official shaking his head. Cameras catch every second as the world's most notorious rules lawyer tries to win free relief from invisible insects. After several minutes and a thorough inspection, the answer is no. Play it as it lies. Bryson grumbles, takes his stance, and hits the shot. The moment goes viral, turning a minor rules request into a full-blown spectacle. Only in golf can a superstar's round grind to a halt over phantom ants and a technicality in the rulebook. Viktor Hovland stands on the 17th tee at Olympia Fields, staring down the kind of pressure that melts most players. He's already torched the back 9, birdies at 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 17. Every swing is pure, every putt drops. The scorecard adds up to 61, a new course record at the BMW Championship. That's not just a hot streak. It's the lowest round ever recorded on this storied track, and it comes with the FedEx Cup playoffs on the line. Hovland's finish vaults him to the top of the leaderboard, then propels him into Atlanta for the Tour Championship. 1 week later, he rides that momentum to the biggest payday in golf, $18 million for winning the FedEx Cup. Commentators call it one of the greatest playoff runs ever. In the space of 8 days, Hovland goes from dark horse to clutch king, rewriting what's possible when a player catches fire at exactly the right moment. Phil Mickelson walks down the 18th fairway at Kiowa Island, surrounded by a sea of fans breaking every rope and barrier in sight. He's 50 years and 11 months old, fighting off a field half his age at the 21 PGA Championship. The crowd swells behind him, thousands pouring onto the grass, police and security scrambling to hold the line as the noise builds to a fever pitch. Mickelson, sunglasses on, jaw set, threads his way through the chaos. One calm man in a storm of bodies and disbelief. He taps in the final putt, and the eruption is instant. Hands in the air, he's mobbed by delirious fans, lifted by a surge of humanity that can't quite believe what just happened. No one this old had ever won a major before. In a single afternoon, Phil didn't just win a trophy. He shattered golf's age barrier, rewriting what was possible for every player who ever felt their window closing. That image, Phil lost in a tidal wave of fans, became the new symbol of hope for anyone chasing one last shot at greatness. Scottie Scheffler, world number 1, expects a routine Friday at the PGA Championship. At 6:34 a.m., police block Valhalla's entrance after a fatal accident. Scheffler, cleared to enter, approaches the cordon. An officer yells to stop. He inches forward, confusion mounting. Pulled from his car, handcuffed, and placed in a squad car. He's booked and charged for not following police orders. Frantic calls go out to his agent and caddy. Hours before his tee time, news spreads. Scheffler is in custody. By mid-morning, he's released, hurries back, and tees off as scheduled. Fans and players are left stunned. Cameras catch him warming up, business as usual, but the story dominates headlines. Days later, prosecutors review the body cam footage. No crime, no intent, just a chaotic misunderstanding. Charges dismissed. Scheffler's morning, arrested, processed, released, then back on the leaderboard, becomes the most surreal collision of law enforcement and major championship golf in memory. From the first swing interrupted by a swarm of bees to the world's top golfer being handcuffed just hours before tee-off, these 20 moments prove golf is anything but predictable. Across the list, chaos comes from every direction. Wild animals, rules so obscure even the pros get tripped up, gear meltdowns, and human drama on the biggest stages. The most jaw-dropping shocks: Scottie Scheffler's arrest, Leanne Walker's 58-stroke penalty, Phil Mickelson's moving ball controversy, show how golf's unique blend of individual pressure, labyrinthine rules, and real-world unpredictability creates historic spectacles. Consistently, the line between disaster and triumph is razor-thin. One misread, one gust of wind, one misunderstood rule, and history is made for all the wrong or all the right reasons. What qualifies as insane here isn't just the stakes, but the sheer unpredictability baked into every round. In golf, reality always seems one shot away from the surreal, and that's what keeps fans glued, because in this game, the unimaginable is never off the table.